Imagine spending a small fortune on a watch, only to realize it's a mistake you could have easily avoided. We're delving deep into the world of wristwatches to decode the telltale signs you should never ignore when considering your next watch purchase. Stay tuned until the end. As you'll gain invaluable insights that can transform your watch collecting game. Imagine this situation. You want a specific watch. It's the kind of watch that you think would be a perfect addition to your collection. But here's the catch. Getting your hands on it isn't as easy as you'd like it to be. It's not the end of the world, but if you're a big fan of watches, it can be pretty frustrating. You see, watches are more than just time-telling devices. They're like pieces of art that you wear on your wrist, and each one has its own story and character. And as a watch enthusiast, your collection is like a gallery of these stories. Now, as you're about to make a decision on buying that dream watch, it's essential to take a step back and think things through. There are some signs you should watch out for before you make the purchase. These signs can help you decide if it's the right move or if you should hold off a bit. In the next part, we'll go over 4 clear signs that might make you reconsider buying that watch. These signs will help you make a smart choice that fits your love for watches and your budget as well. So before you jump into buying it, let's go through these important things to make sure your new watch is a perfect fit for your collection and your wallet. Purchasing the watch will strain your finances for the next couple of months. For me, one thing I never compromise on when buying a watch, which is its impact on my budget. If getting that watch means stretching my finances a bit too thin or making the next couple of months financially tight on me, then it's a no-go for me. A couple of times I've been so close to making a purchase, but it just didn't feel right. Last year, I had the opportunity to buy the Explorer, a watch I absolutely adore, not once but twice. However, although I could technically afford it, it would have strained my budget more than I was comfortable with. Looking back, I'm grateful I didn't make that purchase because in March I had a bicycle accident and couldn't work for a few months. Thankfully, having a well-stocked savings account came to the rescue. Our general financial rule is to keep at least 3 months' worth of wages in our savings account, readily available for emergencies or unexpected situations when we can't work. It's a safety net that we've wisely set up. Yet, I must admit, the temptation to spend that money on watches is always there. You're experiencing some sadness. I haven't done this personally, but my friend did, and I've seen him almost do it again. It's when you buy a watch not because you want it, but because you're feeling a bit down. I understand the allure of retail therapy, but we're not in a position to impulsively buy luxury watches when we're feeling down. Here's the story. Once, my friend had to pass up on buying a Patek Philippe 5212 because it wasn't the right time for him financially. However, he made the mistake of visiting the authorized dealer to see the 5212 in person. Unfortunately, someone else had already bought it and my friend was feeling a bit sad. So he thought about filling that sadness with a Grand Seiko Snowflake. Now there's nothing wrong with the Snowflake. It's a great watch, but he didn't want it. He just didn't want to leave empty-handed due to his sadness. I told him, I have never heard you say that you want this watch. You don't have to get it right away. Let's think about it some more. If you still want it after 48 hours, we'll know it's something you really want and not just something you bought on because of the excitement of the moment. A few days passed and he didn't end up getting the Snowflake. The urge to buy it had come and gone, and I'm grateful he didn't make the purchase to regret it later. A couple of months later, he received a call about an Aquanaut, a watch he truly wanted. And he was in a position to buy it because he hadn't impulsively purchased the Snowflake. The lesson here is not to buy watches just because you're feeling sad. Wait for the ones that will genuinely make you happy. You want it to show off or impress others. This might seem like a first world problem, but it's a challenge that people always face. It's essential not to buy a watch solely to show off or impress others. I'll keep this brief because it's not a flattering aspect of my past behaviour. I used to be drawn to buying watches just for the sake of impressing people, and I admit I was a bit of a hype beast. It's especially tricky when you're interested in Rolex watches. because sometimes you can't try them on before you commit to buying one. I've received calls for watches I had on order, but I hadn't tried them on before. So when I finally got the chance to try them, I realized that some of them just weren't the right fit for me. Even though part of me wanted to buy these watches to show off, I knew deep down that I didn't want them anymore. I wasn't excited about them, so saying yes to a watch I didn't truly want would have meant denying someone else the chance to get a watch they genuinely love and have been eagerly waiting for. I'm working hard to put aside my desire for recognition and save my money for the watches I truly want. My goal is to build a collection of timepieces that I genuinely love and connect with, rather than just buying them for the sake of flexing. It's not the watch you genuinely desire, it's more like a temporary substitute. Here's another important reason not to buy a watch. Don't purchase a watch just as a temporary replacement. I have a story to illustrate this point. My friend had been wanting the stainless steel Pepsi for a couple of years, and his name was on the waiting list. As time went on, he began to lose hope and got frustrated, thinking he'd never get the call for it. He considered getting the Tudor GMT as an alternative. Now, let me clarify. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the Tudor GMT. I don't believe in labeling Tudor as a poor man's Rolex. Preferences vary, and that's perfectly fine. For example, I prefer the Black Bay 54 over the Submariner. However, my friend also has his own preferences, and I knew that the Tudor GMT wasn't the watch he truly wanted. So, I advised him not to settle for it and to wait it out. After about 3 to 4 months, he finally received the call for the Pepsi, and he made the right choice. The key lesson here is not to buy a watch that isn't the one you genuinely desire. I hope that makes sense. I understand that Rolex can be tricky to obtain, and we're fortunate to have the same reliable authorized dealer. Unfortunately, I've heard horror stories from others. If there's a watch you truly want, only that watch will truly satisfy your desire. Remember, watch collecting is a long-term journey, not a race. Have you experienced any of these? Share everything in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to Luxury Focus to stay updated with all of our latest videos. See you at the next one.